Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to recite a speech delivered by the University of Pennsylvania's undergraduate commencement ceremony by Bono, the lead singer of the rock band U2, on May 17, 2004. Because we can, we must. My name is Bono, and I am a rock star. Don't get me too excited, because I use four-letter words when I get excited. I'd just like to say to the parents, your children are safe, your country is safe. The FCC has taught me a lesson, and the only four-letter word I'm going to use here today is PENN. Come to think of it, Bono is a four-letter word. I never went to college. I've slept in some strange places, but the library wasn't one of them. I studied rock and roll and grew up in Dublin in the 70s. Music was an alarm bell for me. It woke me up to the world. I was 17 when I first saw The Clash, and it just sounded like revolution. The Clash were like, "This is a public service announcement with guitars." I was the kid in the crowd who took it at face value. Later I learned that a lot of the rebels were in it for the t-shirt. They'd wear the boots, but they wouldn't march. They'd smash bottles on their heads, but they wouldn't go to something more painful like a town hall meeting. By the way, I felt like that myself until recently. I didn't expect change to come so slow, so agonizingly slow. I didn't realize that the biggest obstacle to political and social progress wasn't the Freemasons or the establishment, or the boot heel of whatever you consider the man to be. It was something much more subtle. So for better or worse, that was my education. I came away with the clear sense that difference the music could make in my own life, in other people's lives, if I did my job right. For 4 years, you've been buying, trading, and selling everything you've got in this marketplace of ideas, the intellectual hustle. Your pockets are full, even if your appearances are empty. And now you've got to figure out what to spend it on. The going rate for change isn't cheap. Big ideas are expensive. So my question, I suppose, is, what's the big idea? What's your big idea? What are you willing to spend your moral capital, your intellectual capital, your cash, your sweat equity in pursuing outside of the walls of the University of Pennsylvania? What's worth spending your post-pen lives trying to do or undo? It might be something simple. For me, that proving ground has been Africa. 7,000 Africans dying every day of preventable, treatable disease like AIDS. That's not a cause, that's an emergency. And when the disease gets out of control because most of the population lived on less than $1 a day, that's not a cause, that's an emergency. And when resentment builds because of unfair trade rules and the burden of unfair debt, that's not a cause, that's an emergency. I'm not interested in charity. I'm interested in justice. There's a difference. Africa needs justice as much as it needs charity. Equality for Africa is a big idea. It's a big, expensive idea. We can't fix every problem. Natural calamities are part of the picture here. But the ones we can, we must. The debt burden, unfair trade rules, sharing our knowledge, the intellectual copyright for life-saving drugs in a crisis, we can do that. And because we can, we must. Because we can, we must. Amen. This is the straight truth, the righteous truth. It's not a theory, it's a fact. The fact is that this generation, yours, my generation, we can be the first to look at poverty and disease, look across the ocean to Africa and say with a straight face, we can be the first to put an end to this stupid extreme poverty. Where in a world of plenty, a child can die from lack of food in its belly. Every era has its own defining struggle, and the fate of Africa is one of ours. It's not the only one, but in the history books, it's surely going to make the top 5, what we did or did not do. The world is more malleable than you think, and it's waiting for you to hammer it into shape. That's what this degree of yours is, a blunt instrument. So go forth and build something with it. This is the time for bold measures. This is the country, and you are the generation. Thank you.